Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final match of day number 5 in the casting Colosseum, where we have a great matchup tonight, a grudge match, if you will, against a gladiator and a player. Both these players faced off with the gladiator taking the win, so I'm sure that this challenger wants to get revenge. Let's take a look at our gladiator tonight. It is Bosmopar, who hails from Anaheim, California. He has 15 years of TCG experience. His tournament history includes a sealed IQ top 8, 5 shards weekly winner, and 3rd place in the 5 shards weekly series finale. He's considered a well-rounded player. He plays anything that you put in front of him, and you can find Bosmopar at twitch.tv/Bosmopar. Let's take a look at the deck that Bosmopar is playing tonight. It is Jank Umvrant. That is right, a Jank Umvrant deck for you tonight. A great match here for Bosmopar to play this deck. And let's take a look at all the cards that are in this deck. Starting with his troops, he has 2 Royal Valkyr, 4 Hero of Adamant, 4 Houndmaster of Artivas, 4 Lord Adam the Powerful, 4 Jankbot, 4 Azure Fate Sorceress, 4 Vanguards of Gwain, 2 Royal Cutbloods, 2 Protectorate Clergymen, 4 Phoenix Guard Trainers, 4 Lord Alexander the Courageous, 2 Krakengard Sea Priest, 2 Jags the Blade Master, 4 Cerulean Mentalist, 4 Buccaneer, 4 Royal Herald, 4 Phoenix Guard Messengers, 4 Lord Benjamin the Wise, and 4 Cerulean Mirror Knights. Now let's take a look at the actions, constants, and everything in between in this Jank Umvrant deck. Playing 2 Mass Polymorph Dingler, 4 Mastery of Time, 2 Solitary Exile, 2 Blessing the Fallen, 2 Pride's Fall, 4 Repel, 2 Martyr, 2 Soul Marble, and 4 Time Ripple, rounding out the resource pool of this Ruby, Sapphire, and Diamond deck, playing 4 copies of Shard of Conquest, Shard of Purpose, and Shard of Innovation. His champion is Rutherford Banks with a starting health of 23, requires double Diamond Threshold and 7 charges to put target troop from your crypt into play.
Wow, good work there, Snake. That was a lot of cards. Let's break down exactly what Jank Umvrant does. I guess first off, the entire point of a Jankbot deck is to get Jankbot out. It is an example of one of our deck building restrictions that is available in Hex. To play Jankbot, you need to have 150 cards in Constructed. So this is why the deck is so much larger than any of the other decks we have been seeing here tonight. It's because Jankbot's in it. Other than that, you want to try and put together a coherent strategy, and Bosmopar's strategy is to try and get the Triumvirate out. We saw a challenger try this once tonight. Perhaps Bosmopar will have a better chance getting those 3 troops which transform into the Triumvirate.
And let's take a look at his competitor, the grudge match. It's going to be Sadolution, who hails from Nordrhein-Westfalen, Germany. He is 27 years old, and he has multiple years of TCG experience. He's considered to be a versatile player and has no preferred style. His tournament history, he plays 2nd in the Rock League Season 3, won Wild Keep Season 1, top 8 in Cup of Fate Season 1, and of course was our final IQ champion, knocking down, that's securing his final spot to go to California. And a fact for him, in his off time, he is a male model, believe it or not. Sadolution, male model. Let's take a look at the deck he is piloting tonight. It is called Taste the Rainbow. And looking at troops in his deck, he is playing a single Eternal Guardian, 2 Arborean Rootfather, 3 Drew's Colossal Walker, 4 Buccaneer, 3 Hopeheart Unicorn, 3 Lixil the Deathless Gem, 4 Midnight Shepherd, and 4 Stargazers. Actions and constants in this deck are 3 Extinction, 2 Kill, 4 Repel, 3 Soul Marble, and rounding out his resource pool, including all 5 shards, he's playing 2 copies of Shard of Purpose, Shard of Ancients, 2 cards of Shard of Retribution and Shard of Cunning, 2 copies of Shard of Instinct, Shard of Life, 1 copy each of Shard of Hatred, Shard of Savagery, and Shard of Conquest, and 4 copies of Shards of Fate. His champion is One Eye Open with starting health of 25, requires a single Diamond Threshold and 3 charges to ready each troop you control.
It warms my heart to see this deck. The Taste the Rainbow deck was originally designed by Sadolution to take down one of the 4 keep competition gauntlets that I have put together. So this is a blast to the past for me. The goal of this deck is twofold. 1, to get one of each threshold. So blood, diamond, ruby, sapphire, and wild, and then use Midnight Shepherd and his gated ability to return a troop from the crypt and bring it into play. If you have all 5 threshold, Midnight Shepherd basically lets you take things for free, put them into play, and use that to overwhelm your opponent. Things that help him reach that goal, of course, include things like Lixil, the Deathless Gem, which also, when you reach 5 threshold, gets invincible, as well as a smattering of other threats in all sorts of different shards. Stargazer to help you cycle through your deck, Repel to help remove things and prevent yourself from being overwhelmed in the early game, and then Arborean Rootfather for the late game.
All right, so let's get ready to head down to the tournament floor where we have Bosmopar versus Sadolution in this grudge match. Sadolution wanting to get revenge from his previous match. Dino, who do you like in this match between Bosmopar and Sadolution?
Well, Sadolution has a fairly resilient deck. We've seen it win a couple of times before, but never underestimate the power of Jankbot. An early Jankbot, if that gets down on the field, every time it swings in, you get to play 3 cards for free with every attack. So that could very easily carry Bosmopar to victory.
So let's take a look at opening hands for both players. Looks like Bosmopar with no resources in hand is definitely not going to keep that hand. It looks like Sadolution has mulligan down to 6 in his hand. He has a Shard of Conquest, a Shard of Cunning, a Shard of Purpose, Buccaneer, and a Stargazer. Opening hand for Bosmopar is a Diamond Shard, 2 Ruby Shards, a Shard of Purpose, Mastery of Time, and Protectorate Clergyman.
Strong start, I would say, for Sadolution. If he can get the Stargazer out, he can start fishing for what he needs.
Shard of Purpose is played for Sadolution for a Diamond Threshold, and he'll pass over to Bosmopar. His draw is a Sapphire Shard. We'll play out a Shard of Purpose, and he's going to play it for a Sapphire Threshold.
The thing about a Jankbot deck is it's hard to have a coherent strategy. It's a strategy that you can guarantee because you have 150 cards to go through.
Draw for Sadolution is a Repel. Going to play a Shard of Retribution for a Blood Threshold. So single blood and single diamond threshold. Turn passes over to Bosmopar. His draw is a Royal Herald. Will play out a Diamond Shard and now be able to choose a threshold. He's going to select another diamond threshold. So double diamond, single sapphire threshold, and he'll pass to Sadolution.
So Bosmopar is going to just try and play a bunch of good stuff and overwhelm Sadolution before Sadolution gets to the meat of his deck.
Shard of Life is played. Now sitting at single wild diamond and blood threshold. Stargazer is played. Turn passes over to Bosmopar. Shard of Innovation is the draw. Will play a Ruby Shard. Will go into attack. He's going to swing in with that Royal Herald for 2 damage. And if Sadolution does take this, and he looks like he will, he's going to go down to 23 health. And we see a Protectorate Clergyman join the field for Bosmopar.
It's really important that he protects the Stargazer because Stargazer is what's going to let him pull into his combo pieces. And also, Sadolution wants troops in the crypt.
Shard of Cunning is played for a Sapphire Threshold. Soul Marble is the draw for Sadolution. He'll play out a Buccaneer, and that Protectorate Clergyman will go back into Bosmopar's hand with increased cost 1. Stargazer will ping Bosmopar, bring him down to 22 health.
That increased cost is actually fairly relevant. Protectorate Clergyman will inspire any troops that come into play with equal or greater cost. With +1/+1, at 4, it inspires fewer things.
Diamond is drawn for Bosmopar. We'll play a Sapphire Shard. Protectorate Clergyman once again on the board for Bosmopar. He'll pass a turn to Sadolution. His draw is a Shard of Ancients. Looks like he's going to play the Shard of Conquest, be able to choose between Ruby and Diamond Threshold. Chooses Ruby. He has all thresholds ready and plays out a Soul Marble.
And Soul Marble is pretty big. You can spend resources to get counters. Once you reach 10, it can become either Soul Armaments or Soul Cavalry.
Sapphire Shard is the draw for Bosmopar. Will play out a Sapphire now, sitting at 5 resources. Double Ruby, Diamond, and Sapphire. Will pass the turn to Sadolution. Before the end of his turn, though, Sadolution will put 2 counters on the Soul Marble.
And the Soul Marble is so incredibly strong because what it'll do is prevent any removal that Bosmopar has from hitting. It gives troops spell shield.
And we see the draw for Sadolution is that Midnight Shepherd. So he has the thresholds to be able to activate the Midnight Shepherd. We'll play out a resource for a blood threshold.
So the question Sadolution needs to face is, does he play out the Midnight Shepherd, or does he keep it safe until a Soul Marble is online and it cannot be targeted by anything?
Shard of Innovation on Bosmopar's turn is played for a Sapphire threshold. He has 5 resources, does have Mastery and Time in hand. We're going to attack. Royal Herald and Protectorate Clergyman coming in. This is 5 damage. We see the Buccaneer step in front of the Protectorate Clergyman. 2 damage will bring Sadolution to 21, and we see a Mastery of Time from Bosmopar.
It's a clever play. It'll allow him to use Rutherford Banks' ability, champion ability, at 7 charges. You can bring something back from the crypt. Perhaps we'll see him use that on his clergyman.
Sapphire Shard is played now at 7 resources, and champion ability is active. Go to attack phase. We have that 2/1 Royal Herald come in. 2 more damage. Rutherford Banks is going to be activated, and Protectorate Clergyman will return to the field for Bosmopar.
Sadolution is getting very close to a Soul Marble, though.
5 charges added before the end of Bosmopar's turn. That Soul Marble is now at 7. Sadolution draws a second Soul Marble.
I think at this point he can get Soul Marble online and play his Midnight Shepherd.
Soul Marble is activated, which will create soul armaments, gives all his troops +2/+2, steadfast, and spell shield. Midnight Shepherd will join the field for Sadolution.
Stargazer is often overlooked, but it's a key part of this combo. It allows you to draw a card and then discard a card. You can discard all the troops you want to bring back with Midnight Shepherd. So it's really those 2 cards together that make this deck.
Lord Benjamin is the draw. Sapphire Shard is played. Lord Benjamin joins the field for Bosmopar. And as we get ready for the end of turn, looks like activation of that Stargazer is going to draw Sadolution and Midnight Shepherd. And it will go to the crypt. Draw for Sadolution. It is a Shard of Retribution. We'll draw a card with the Stargazer. It's a Hope Heart Unicorn. And that will go to the crypt.
Yeah, he's going to be tossing all of the troops that he draws, because why play something from your hand if you can simply play it for free with a Midnight Shepherd?
Midnight Shepherd plays a second Midnight Shepherd with the activation ability. Stargazer again is activated. A second Soul Marble in hand. We see the Shard of Retribution being played. We'll be able to choose between a Blood or Diamond Threshold. Oh, actually, Shard of Retribution went to the crypt, excuse me. We see the Hope Heart Unicorn come out. Still has 4 resources. And Sadolution plays out his second Soul Marble. And turn will pass back over to Bosmopar. Draw for Bosmopar is a Royal Valkyr.
The Royal Valkyr is a good pickup because, even if it can't be used to kill anything on board, it can ping Sadolution in the face.
So it looks like Repel will take care of Lord Benjamin the Wise, and Bosmopar is going to play out his Royal Valkyr. It's a 4/5, and it's going to hit Sadolution. That'll bring Sadolution down to 16 health. Buccaneer is drawn for Bosmopar.
There's an interesting line here where Bosmopar uses his Buccaneer to bounce his own Royal Valkyr back into his hand, since he can't target any of Sadolution's troops. So that would be an interesting way to use that ability.
For Sadolution, his draw is a Shard of Instinct. Going to activate a Stargazer to draw a card. It's another Stargazer. He'll put that into the crypt. Looks like he's going to Midnight Shepherd for a Buccaneer. And we see him target the Protector Clergyman. That is now a 5-cost Protector Clergyman. Activation of Midnight Shepherd. One eye open for his champion power. Will ready all his troops.
With every Buccaneer activation, that Protector Clergyman is just getting less and less useful.
Stargazer is activated, draws a Midnight Shepherd. We'll see that go to the crypt. combat phase, we see the Hope-Heart Unicorn 5/5 inbound to Bosmopar. Looks like he's going to take this damage and go down to 17 health.
This is where things get really dicey. Bosmopar is going to need one of his massive board wipes. I'm thinking probably Mass Polymorph Dingler is the card that will save him here.
We shift back over to Bosmopar. His draw is a Diamond Shard, plays it. Now is at 10 resources. He's going to swing in with that Royal Valkyr. That's 4 damage. Looks like activation of Midnight Shepherd from Sadolution is going to bring Lord Benjamin the Wise over for Sadolution and block that Royal Valkyr.
Oh, that is so incredibly nasty because Midnight Shepherd can target any troops in any crypt. It doesn't matter.
Looks like Bosmopar is taking a play from your playbook. Dino is going to play the Buccaneer to bounce the Royal Valkyr back into his hand. And he has enough resources to play it. So he's going to play it again. And he's going to do damage directly to Sadolution.
It's probably the best use of that troop he can do at this moment. No way to get damage through because as long as there's a Midnight Shepherd on the board, he can bring back the Lord Benjamin.
Sadolution down to 13 health as we swing over to him for the start of his turn. His draw is a Diamond Shard. We'll activate the Stargazer, draw a card. It's a Shard of Purpose. We'll place that back into the crypt.
Sadolution does have a couple other lines of play. I mean, he's fishing for a bunch of troops just to build overwhelming board state, but he could also be pumping up his soul marbles. He has 3 of them now, and with every one of those, he gives all of his troops +2/+2.
We go to attack phase for Sadolution. See Buccaneer and Hope-Heart Unicorn coming in. Looks like the Royal Valkyr is going to step in the way for the Buccaneer. Bosmopar down to 12 health. Things are not looking very good for Bosmopar here.
And Bosmopar needs to be very careful about how he blocks. Any troop that he loses just becomes more for Sadolution's side of the board.
We go over to Bosmopar, who draws a Repel. We'll see that Protectorate Clergyman come out once again.
It's an unfortunate pick for Bosmopar. Repel does nothing when your entire board on your opponent's side has Spell Shield.
Royal Valkyr during Bosmopar's attack phase is going to swing in for 4 damage. Activation of Midnight Shepherd. We see Lord Benjamin return during this phase, and it will block and stop the damage from the Royal Valkyr. Midnight Shepherd brings back Buccaneer, and Protectorate Clergyman was not long for the field. Goes back to Bosmopar's hand and is now a 6-cost Protectorate Clergyman.
The thing that's so painful about that is that Sadolution can do the activation of the Midnight Shepherd at any point. It's quick.
Draw for Sadolution at the start of his turn is a Shard of Savagery. He is going to go ahead and dump enough resources to create another Soul Armaments. And this does not bode well for Bosmopar. We're going to attack phase. And everything is coming in.
It's looking like the end.
Activation of the Stargazers to draw cards, and all that Sadolution is doing is putting him all back into his crypt. Damage is going to be assigned after blocks, but unfortunately for Bosmopar, there is just too many troops on the board, and that is going to do it. Sadolution is going to take game number 1 in this grudge match between him and Bosmopar. Let's take a look at the reserves for both players. Bosmopar does not have any reserves for his deck, and Sadolution has a single Argus Herald of Doom, 1 Eternal Guardian, 4 Eye of Lixil, 2 The Ancestors Chosen, a single Extinction, 2 Cerebral Domination, and 4 Sapper's Charge. What do you like here as far as reserves for Sadolution?
I think Sadolution will want some way to get rid of a Jank bot. If a Jank bot gets too many attacks in, it can easily overwhelm Sadolution before he can get his crazy Midnight Shepherd combo going. So I'm particularly fond of Argus Herald of Doom, as it can be a really great troop for just vaporizing any threat. You can exhaust it to void target card. That's it, void, gone and done with. Best part is you can also combo it together with One Eye Open to get multiple void effects in a single turn.
So both players are going to be saving the reserves. We'll go into game number 2 between this matchup of Bosmopar and Sadolution. Really excited to see how this one's going to turn out. I know Sadolution definitely wants to get this win and come back with a 1-1 record against Bosmopar. This may be the matchup where Bosmopar will be defeated and be one of our 3 gladiators with a loss. We're going to find out right now. We're going into game number 2. Bosmopar will have the option to go first. We'll take a look at opening hands for both players.
The thing about Jank is that it is a little bit inconsistent because you have such a large deck. Bosmar had a bad game last time, but he could very well have the nuts this time around.
Bosmopar had Jank in his opening hand, but no resources. Mulligans to 6, has 2 Ruby Shards, a Sapphire Shard, which he plays. Cerulean Mentalist, Phoenix Guard, Trainer, and Cerulean Mirror Knight. Opening hand for Sadolution has a Shards of Fate, Shard of Purpose, Repel, Buccaneer, Double Hope Heart Unicorn, Lixil, and Stargazer. Turn passes back over to Bosmopar. His draws a Diamond Shard. We'll play a Ruby Shard and Cerulean Mirror Knight on turn 2 for Bosmopar.
An early Cerulean Mirror Knight is pretty much always what you want to see if you're drawing into your threats. It inspires troops with, when this dies, draw a card.
Shard of Purpose is played for Sadolution, is sitting at a single Sapphire, single Wild Threshold, plays a Stargazer, and we'll go back over to Bosmopar. He draws a Jankbot.
There it is. That's the nuts hand I was telling you about. He gets 1 more resource. He will have Jankbot able to swing in and give him 3 free things.
We go to attack for Bosmopar. We see the Cerulean Mirror Knight do 1 point of damage to Sadolution, bringing him to 24 health. Phoenix Guard Trainer is played, and we swing back over to Sadolution, who draws a second Lixil. Will activate his Stargazer to draw a card. Draws a 3rd Lixil.
But no resource. He is stuck at 2.
Bosmopar's turn. He draws that 4th resource that he desperately needs. We're going to be going to attack phase. 3 damage inbound to Sadolution. This is going to take him down to 21 health. And Jankbot is now out and live for Bosmopar.
Oh, I mean, the only silver lining is that Sadolution has a repel in hand.
So Sadolution now will play a resource sitting at Diamond, Sapphire, and Wild. 2 open resources remaining for that repel. Draw for Bosmopar is a Hero of Adamant. We see a Cerulean Mentalist played for Bosmopar.
Playing this Cerulean Mentalist now is actually really clever because when the Jankbot swings in, he's going to want everything else to be inspired with draw a card.
And look at this. He finds another Jankbot and a Hero of Adamant and a Diamond Shard. So a second Jankbot, courtesy of the first one, is played. And we see that Repel take care of the first Jankbot. Draw is a Houndmaster of Artivas. But still, look at that.
This is it. This is what we come to see when we see a Jankbot deck. 3
damage inbound. Gonna resolve. That's going to take Sadolution down to 18 health.
Sadolution is going to need, I think, an Extinction and or a Miracle.
So does draw an Extinction. However, doesn't have the thresholds to do it just yet. He is going to play a Lixil and does get a Blood threshold. So he's sitting at a single Diamond, Sapphire, Wild, and Blood. Attack phase for Sadolution. And he'll pass the turn to Bosmopar. His draw is a Shard of Conquest. Houndmaster of Artivas is played.
That's going to be lethal with all that damage in the air. Houndmaster does have speed.
And here we go. Alpha swing from Bosmopar. We see a Sapphire Shard, a Buccaneer, and a Royal Valkyr selected as the cards from Jankbot. And this is going to do it. He is going to use the Royal Valkyrie to target that Lixil. And this is all she wrote. Buccaneer is also going to be activated to put that Stargazer back in the hand. And Jank Umvrant taking it and doing some work. And Bosmopar ties this matchup 1-1 against Sadolution. Bosmopar will not go quietly in the night. He is definitely ready to play. And we are back to reserves for both players. Again, Bosmopar with no reserve is just playing with his 150 card Jank Umbrid deck versus Sadolution's Taste the Rainbow. What are some other thoughts that Sadolution's going through right now with his reserves?
Well, Snake, first off, I have to say I am loving this match. These decks are so unique, and to see them matched off together is incredibly exciting. Sadolution, if he wants to try and slow things down, Eye of Lixil is potentially an option. It can block 4 days as long as you have the proper threshold. It prevents all damage of thresholds that you have. Other things he might be looking for, a couple Sappers charges could slow down the human Inspire train, but otherwise, he just needs to build up his board before Jank Bot comes into play.
Yeah, and it was really fortunate for Bosmopar to get a Jank with a Jank. I definitely think that turned the tide for Bosmopar as we go into game number 3 in this grudge match of Bosmopar versus Sadolution. One of these players is going to walk away with the win. Bosmopar hope it's him so he can stay undefeated. Sadolution hoping to get that win against Bosmopar as we look at opening hands for both players. Bosmopar sitting with a Diamond Shard, Sapphire Shard, a Shard of Conquest, Shard of Innovation, a Azure Fate Sorceress, Lord Adam, and a Cerulean Mentalist. On the opposite side for Sadolution, Sapphire Shard, a Shard of Ancients, a Shard of Instinct, which he's going to play Arborean Rootfather, Hope Heart Unicorn, and Lixil. Looks like he's going to play it for the Diamond or for the Wild Threshold and pass a turn to Bosmopar, who draws a Solitary Exile.
The resources in a multi-shard deck are so difficult to manage. You got to be very careful what you drop when.
Shard is played from Bosmopar for a Ruby Threshold. Turn is now over to Sadolution, who draws an Ancestor's Chosen. Will play out a Sapphire Shard, and we'll see a turn 2 the Ancestor's Chosen from Sadolution.
Ancestor's Chosen is a really interesting drop. Every turn it's going to create 2 Ancestral Specters, 2/2 flyers for 1.
Surreal Mirror Knight is the draw for Bosmopar. Will play out a Sapphire Shard. Mirror Knight is in play for Bosmopar and will go back over to Sadolution. His draw is a Midnight Shepherd. Looks like he's going to activate the Arborean Rootfather to place that back into his deck with cost -2 and draw a card. Looks like he's going to play that Shard of Ancients for either a Wild or Blood Threshold. Chooses Blood. No attack and turn will pass.
So just like the first game, Sadolution is going to hunt for those 5 thresholds. Once he reaches them, that's going to be really difficult for Bosmopar to answer.
Bosmopar will play a resource. We swing in with the Cerulean Mirror Knight. A point of damage will take Sadolution to 24 health, and we see that Cerulean Mentalist join the field for Bosmopar. Draw for Sadolution is a Blood Shard. We'll play it now at 4 resources, sitting at 3 thresholds, double Blood, 1 Wild, and 1 Sapphire.
It was really critical. Even though Sadolution does not have his Diamond, he now has double Blood. That means Extinction is a possibility.
Kraken Guard Sea Priest is the draw for Bosmopar. We go right into attack. This is 3 damage inbound. This is going to take Sadolution down to 21 health. Shard of Conquest is played. Looks like it's going to be for the Diamond Threshold. Kraken Guard Sea Priest is the play. Internal pass over to Sadolution.
The Extinction is going to be a pretty big setback for Bosmopar because he's focused so much on inspiration effects. You need a large board, troops that stay on the board so that your other troops get better.
So it looks like Sadolution trying to decide what he wants to do, sitting on Repel and Extinction. Will pass the turn. Bosmopar's draw is a Diamond Shard. He will play out a Sapphire, now at 5 resources. And we're going to attack, and everything is coming in. The Mirror Knight, the Cerulean Mentalist, and the Kraken Guard Sea Priest. Looks like the Ancestor's Chosen is going to step in the way. Sadolution is going to go down to 18 health, and we see an Azure Fate Sorceress.
It's a lot of pressure.
That's going to do 2 damage to Sadolution, bringing him down to 16 health as we shift focus over to Sadolution.
I wouldn't be surprised if Extinction comes down.
And it does. Sadolution board wipes here. And Bosmopar is going to be able to draw some cards. Go back over to Bosmopar. His draw is a Vanguard of Gwaine. Now at 6 resources, we'll see an Azure Fate Sorceress again. 2 more damage to Sadolution will bring him down to 14 health.
At this point, Sadolution just has to be saying, please, top deck, give me a diamond. That's all I need to get the ball rolling.
We're shift focus back over to Sadolution. He'll play a Shard of Fate. And looks like it's going to be for the diamond threshold, going to play out the Lixil, the Deathless Gem. Focus will be back to Bosmopar. His draw is a diamond shard. We'll play a Shard of Conquest, looking for that ruby threshold. Now at 6 resources. Does have his champion ability. Looks like he's going to do it, and he's going to activate it for one of his Azure Fate Sorceress.
Looks like Hex has heard Sadolution's prayers, but it might be too late.
One thing of note, those Azure Fate Sorceress do have life drain, so Bosmopar is gaining health with that damage that is being dealt.
And every troop that is played is going to be a huge hit to Sadolution.
Mastery of Time is played for Bosmopar, so he's going to get another turn. His draw is a Jankbot, and Jankbot is going to be inspired by both of the Azure Fate Sorceress. And that is it. Bosmopar takes this game, remains undefeated, and defeats Sadolution 2-1 with his Jank Umbran deck. What a very, very exciting match. Awesome to see Jank Umbran go out there and actually pull out a win. Very exciting match between these two players, and this grudge match will continue.
Yeah, I mean, can you believe it? That was the exact perfect thing that he could have drawn to end the game. 10 damage right there. It's really unbelievable. Excellent showing.
So Sadolution, unfortunately, now is 0-2 against Bosmopar in the casting Colosseum. Bosmopar showing his strength with any deck that he plays. He's living to his mantra that he will play any deck, anywhere, anytime. So let's head on down to the tournament floor with our Hex reporter, Alucard, who's sitting with our winner, Bosmopar, for taking that win 2-1 over Sadolution.
I'm here now with Bosmopar after that epic victory. Congratulations on that awesome win over Sadolution. Yet again, it's got to feel good after that one.
Yes, it was good. Going from that first game we had, just me getting flooded, not be able to play anything out.
Yeah, you really made a great comeback there, Bosmopar, and it's really great to see the Jankbot really take shape in that second match. How are you feeling when you just ripped that Jankbot off the top?
Yes, it was really great. On both of them, Jankbot really helping and getting off the top when it's needed. Then pulling out a second Jankbot during game 2, making sure I'm going to have a Jankbot for the next turn.
Mm-hmm. And then definitely clutching that Jankbot at the end of game 3 just to finish him off. It was really, really exciting to see that. So how did you come across trying to build a deck like this, and what goes into building a deck like this? Because yeah, you have Jankbot and you have the Triumvirate, but you got all those other cards in there. What led you to put all those other cards in there?
Well, when you're building the deck like this, you need to have some sort of like control. Like how I built it, I went more to the Diamond Sapphire side for controlling. How all my actions are Diamond Sapphire. With the only 3 Ruby cards in there were for the Lord, Alex, Jags, and Royal Cutblood. So we're mostly focused on the Diamond Sapphire. So we could stall out the game when need to be, taking the extra turn with the Mastery of Times.
Yeah, and that definitely pushed you to a great win over Sadolution here. So, you think you're going to be bringing this deck back for the Hextravaganza tournament at the end of the month?
Possibly. It's a very fun deck to run.
Excellent. All right, well, congratulations on that victory there. We were on the edge of our seats the whole time. We're going to swing it back up to Snake and Dinotropia with some more analysis over the rest of the tournament.
Thanks, Alucard, and great interview with our undefeated Gladiator Bosmopar, taking down both his opponents tonight and staying undefeated. Also, congratulations to Triple Z as well. But great competition from Nemelix, Tarkin Rex, and Sadolution in our 5th casting Colosseum. Dino, what was your favorite match of the night?
I mean, it's kind of hard to choose anything but this last one, just because both decks were so unique, and that Jank being pulled from a 150 card deck right when Bosmopar needed it twice. It's something special.
Yeah, it's not every day where you get to see a deck really perform and come back too, because I mean, Sadolution definitely applying the pressure and not letting up on Bosmopar, and Bosmopar just really finding those answers. Kismet on his side, and was able to take down Sadolution 2-1. So great matchups all in all tonight, and really great time in the Casting Coliseum.